Okay, here she is. Haven't been inside of it since last fall. We winterized it, so I can show you a couple things on the, more feature wise. And then if you decide you want it, we'll unwinterize it, and then as long as you're using it, you should be fine. I don't, it's been sitting out here, so we usually don't like them sitting with water in them. We try to get the Prestone stuff in them so the lines don't freeze. Although this one is fairly easy to fix if you do crack a valve or something, which I've done a couple times in my RVs. I have another RV over there. That's our primary big one we use. It's a big pusher, Class A. This thing was just made mainly for me, and I was hoping to buy it and use it with my son. My son's 2, and I kind of jumped the gun on that because it's going to be a couple years before we go out riding. But other than that, we'll see if she fires up. If not, it's got a new battery, but again, didn't sit on a charger. So let's just take a look and go. So anyway, let me give you a little bit of spiel on the outside. Stainless steel under boxes, which is super nice. I mean, if you went out and priced one of these to build, so especially with this style box on it, I don't know what it would run. It would probably run in the 50-60 range, I would imagine. I had somebody look at it when I first bought it and see if we could copy it, because it was just such a cool little, if we could pop these things out. And he gave me a kind of shot off the hip, and it was a lot more than I thought. But again, when you see kind of the custom stuff they did on it, you kind of understand why. So I'm going to post this on YouTube. If you don't know who we are, my name is Jeremy. I own Jeeps Unlimited, partsbreakers.com. We're mainly known for our Jeep parts. We do some diesel stuff as well. This camper van is something we picked up when we were at an auction, and it was something I was looking for, something similar. And this was just like hit every little item what I was wanting and more, because it's more of a heavy duty chassis. So it's capable of pulling something if we had to, which I've done it before. We pull a little car hauler, and it has airbags in the back. It has them in the front too, but those I never used. And of course my phone's ringing right now, so Kira looks like she got it. So that's going to probably happen a couple times, so I'll have to try to make this as short as possible. But it came from a sponsored women's race dirt bike team out in California, and that's where this thing sat. So there's not a bit of rust on it anywhere, which is another really cool thing on it. I was, we got in the process of trying to peel the stickers. I would probably just either re-sticker it if you want, or have somebody wrap it, or just paint over it. I mean, my thing was just probably to paint over it. Because it's a box truck, it's built like a box truck, which means the roof is awesome. You don't have to worry about like on that RV, you got to re-roof that thing every few years. These things are super robust as far as what they take. So just give you a kind of an idea what we're looking at as far as these. And again, I haven't been in this in a while, so just little storage areas. Got some campfire wood. I think there's a lantern, a rug for camp area, and I should have all the keys to these guys. These things hold your doors up so you can get in them without them hitting you in the head. I believe, let's see, yeah. So here's your tank. This is actually where you fill your water up, and let's see. I think this is that's fresh water. I believe is your freshwater tank here. I think it's your black water's on the other side. This is not storage here. I think this is just under cargo area. Doors, good shape, open and close as they should. They're old doors, old manual doors, which is what you want. Wing window bin. It's a little dusty in here, so like I said, we'll get through and clean it up. But opens, closes, nice mirrors on it. Windshield, cracked that guy last year, so we can either put one in it, or you can mess with that. It's just a standard GMC 92, so if anything you need parts wise, that's what you're gonna go in and get parts from, is a 92 GMC van, G3500 or Vanduras. Oh, this phone is just gonna continue to blast me, and I'll get that one later. But nice wheels. That's kind of an upgrade, because you don't see box trucks with wheels like that, and those are ultra aluminum alloys. So, and there are a set of them, so you got those all the way around. tires are muddy, you can't really see them, but these are actually decent tread tires. I've put tires on this just recently. I think they were last year. It had a set. I think the rears got replaced. The fronts we put them on when we got it. So Dueler Bridgestones on the front, and then I think on the rear they're Dunlops maybe. Iron something. They're probably just a discount brand. So, okay, hot water heater here for your shower and your sink. Refrigerator, that's what this guy is. Dometic, so that's like an actual RV fridge. Like I said, they didn't really spare any expense. So this one runs just like a normal RV. It's got propane or it's got electric. The electric is shore power, meaning you got to be plugged in for it. So if you're driving down the interstate, that's kind of an old school way to do it, and it's still done pretty much in all RVs, but there are some modern ways that you can power these things. If you want, you can do solar on them, get some batteries in them, which is kind of what we were going to do, but just ran out of time. And as you can see, we're pretty busy out here with what we do. So the body's in excellent shape. The cab, as you've seen the front, it's really good. The roof of the cab itself is great. And then back through here, I mean, there's no damage on this thing. You know, we didn't take it off-roading or anything like that. Beat it up on the trees or anything. So this is kind of what makes this guy unique. And apologize, I had my hoodie on, so it might have been a little bit noisy. So a couple things, and again, I'll show you the underside and the other side. So you got the normal 2-inch receiver built in the bumper. We got these little air lines here. We put these in. Had airbags in it, but we replaced them with new lines and stuff. Those are your airbags for each side. So that's super nice. If you haul a little heavy, you can definitely, you know, whether it's something inside it or you're putting a trailer on it, it won't sag or it'll give you a lot of body roll, which is really nice on it. And then, of course, your controller here, which has got a battery operate, or a trailer brake controller inside. And then, again, I don't know what I'm going to find because it's been a while since I was in this thing, but not too bad. So that's your roll-up door here. Cabinets up top, which is nice, especially for gear. It's got super neat, and we have pretty much everything goes in this. They just installed like a rubber garage matting, kind of soften this up. And this was all done before we got it, so which is really neat. These little guys here go to those guys there, and I think I have a couple more of those guys around because you can actually put 4 bikes in here, or possibly 2 quads. I never really tried quads, but we're dirt bikers, so definitely 1 quad and maybe 2 if you had a smaller one. I don't think you'd get a RZR in here without extending it out, and you could possibly drive down the road like that with just another additional shelf out here if you wanted, I guess. That's, again, not what it really is intended for, but do as you will. A couple neat things. These are all tie downs for your bikes. They're riveted on, so I mean they definitely held up for what we used it for. I wouldn't take a ratchet strap and really ratchet something real heavy down to it. I think you'd probably pop these. These are real strong anchors here, and of course going back down to the anchors you have for your tire holders here. So essentially you can do these, again, kind of angled in here and then crisscross. There's another one in that corner there, so I think it's 3 forward and one back is how we did it. We did actually cram 4 in here to see if it worked, and we took them down and rode that day. So, and you got some anchors in the corners. These are all locked with little pins so they don't swing open, which is nice. Paper towel holder, just little goofy things that they thought of, and which is really cool. Spare tire, of course, nice to have that. I actually had to use that once. We used it for hauling around some fencing material when we needed an extra truck when our truck was down. So it's definitely utility wise. It's got a couple. This is just like which is nice because it's easy to replace. This is stuff you get at Home Depot or Lowe's. The stainless steel is nice for the bottom, kind of makes that more durable for rolling up your tires and stuff. But if you push through this is pretty easy. It's thin stuff. You can replace this, which is nice. You can see that one there was a hook up there in the top, and that one there popped out. So you could either move it down. Everything was in here. The way they put it was riveted. Probably just for strength, it anchors a little bit better than just putting a screw in. But at the same time, you know, you'll have to go back to that or do something different. Okay, that door does slide over. It's a divider, which is nice. So it completely closes off your garage. So if you weren't using it for dirt bikes and wanted extra sleep room, you could definitely throw a couple bunks in here and have, because right now it would sleep 4. 3 comfortably, 4 if if it were kids, you know, if you had 2 adults and 2 kids, easily, maybe an extra kid, depending how you get. Wouldn't use the floor if you were using the heater, because the heater roll is down on, and I'll show you that here in a minute. We just have a mattress rolled up in there. And again, we cleaned it up and then we went and used it, so it's a little dusty still. Let's see what else we got. Super kind of a neat, unique thing on this guy. Oh, this right here. This is super cool, right? And this works really well. Let me show you. I won't pull it all the way out, but I can pull it out with one hand. So that's your ramp, right? So, and this is the way, just like an old box truck, it's mounted on the frame. So as you pull it out, you get it all the way out, you lower it down, drop it, and then you just lift up and you just pull it up. So you could ride it up the way it is, but I always just throw it up on these little pegs, and that way you have a nice even surface to go right into. And I ride the bike right up in it. So that's part of the reason I haven't really been, I mean, this is the most unique utility featured van you will find out there. The price is the price. Probably could get more for it if I did a couple, cleaned it up really nice. Performance-wise, got an old 454 in it. It's an old TBI. They're about as robust and reliable as you'll possibly find. Fuel mileage in them. Here in the Rockies, we're at elevation and huge mountains around us. Probably 10 miles a gallon is about as good as you're going to get. And unloaded, I mean, loaded with bikes. But I mean, as far as pulling a trailer, you're going to drop that significantly. If you're flat landing it, California sea level, and not rolling through Yosemite mountains all the time, that will go up a little bit. But again, it's an old 454, which right now with diesel prices being where they are, it's actually the best thing to have, in my opinion, because fuel on this thing is cheap. You can run 85 in it, and the tank on it is a good sized tank. It's got either 35 or 50 gallon. It's a big Haas in there. It was replaced. So we'll pull all this bedding out. We had this bedding set up for some nieces and nephews, I think, when they came out and let them stay out here in it. So we can give you this stuff if you want, but I want a cure to kind of pull it out of the way. So you got your top bunk here, and the top bunk is cool because it's either that big, which is about the size of an adult or a small child, or child, but then you can pull this guy out. It rolls out on these slides here and here, and it makes a full bed, a full maybe, or maybe not a twin. So I think a full is what it would come out to be, maybe a little bit bigger than that. So from the wall all the way out to here, and we can measure that. Old school TV, probably would upgrade that to something a little bit more modern. But again, for what they were using it for. Curtains are a little bit scuffed up, but they work good. And it all works. This is a really cool system, actually, the way that the curtains work. They all do this. They have kind of a lock in here, so as they pull up, it tightens, and then they don't fall back down. So obviously with this one, you want to do this 2 hands and not screw this up like it says. It got vent windows in there. Those both open, both sides. They work. Nothing leaks. You can see the roof. It's super clean. Again, this is that same type of board they used on the outside, so easy to clean, easy to replace if you had to. That AC unit, it kicks butt, and it does work. You have to be plugged into shore, or you have to have your generator on. There is a generator. I didn't go through the side boxes another time. I'll show those in a minute. I think it's an Onan generator. Runs off has a pickup that goes into your fuel tank. Works amazing. Everything's good at that. Starts right up. Only time I ever had issues with it running, the generator, was when we were at 12,000 feet doing a pass in Rocky Mountains, Rocky Mountain National Park. There's a pass up there. There's very seldom you're ever going to be that high. Matter of fact, most of our passes here in Colorado, the highest you're going to be is probably 10.5. But even at those, you're probably going to have a little bit of starvation of air, and it's jetted. This thing came from California. Remember that. And we haven't done anything to the jets on that. The front of the vehicle is fuel injection. It's a throttle body, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you're going to be running this thing at high elevation, I would go through, clean up the carb. It's probably been a few years anyway, and rejet it. for something that will work at both elevations. But it just, you know, cater it to where you're going to be using it mainly. If you're going to be using it, Vail. And I say that because I'm actually talking to a potential buyer right now about this guy. So if you see it on YouTube, it's not necessarily sold, but you know, there is somebody that's highly interested in it and has been in contact with several weeks. So they've got first dibs at it at this point. But anyway, they've mentioned Vail and some of the ski areas around Colorado. I would probably, if you're going to be using it mainly in Colorado, I would have it rejetted at our elevation, which is, you know, average is probably 5 to 7 here. If you're going to be running it in Chicago, California, Florida, Texas, those areas, I would go down on it, or I would probably leave it alone. Actually, at that point, I just maybe clean it up, throw some. Well, it's probably fine at that elevation actually as is. So, okay, so toilet, it's everything was conserved space on this guy. Okay, so a couple things that, you know, when we got it, we're like, why did we thought the lip would have been kind of broke here. And that's actually by design, so you don't catch your foot on it. And I did that here, which is, I'm big, so I'm 6'3", so it's easy for me to do. But they kind of did that so you don't drag your foot out of it, because that did hurt like the dickens when I did that. So the toilet sits over the drain. So essentially the black water and the gray water share the same tank as far as this is concerned. And we just have the shower. There's a towel and stuff just laying in the bottom. But soap container, fan at the top, so it vents. There is another vent here, so there's several vents in this thing that would let out, you know, if you had, and especially back here, if you have exhaust fumes, definitely want a proper vent there. Let's see what else. So shower. So, you know, if you're doing your business in here, I'm long-legged, so this setup was a little hard for me. And I always thought that with us usually riding with 2, maybe 3 bikes, I could relocate the toilet to maybe a portable one back here. That may or may not have ever happened because it's here and it's mounted. It's nice. So I just closed it off and stuck my legs out the side here, if you really want to know. And then it works fine. So, but we actually didn't use it all that much for that. But we definitely tried out everything on it. And then the shower worked fantastic, especially with that water heater. Again, it's all winterized right now, so I'm not going to flow water through it at the moment. And some cool places we were able to see when we had it. Well, not Hawaii. We went to Hawaii, but didn't take it, obviously. Microwave. Got a microwave up here. Again, this is shore power or generator only. I doubt we have batteries right now for the generator. Yeah, these need to be charged. So one thing is if these sit for a while, especially because we've had some cold temps, should be plugged in. I did just put new batteries in the back. I think I did. I know I put them in the front. But we can talk about that and look at that and make sure. We were going to go through it one last time. Just as we do every year for summer. Just like when we get them out for the summer, we'll go through them, make sure we didn't break any pipes, freshen up the batteries, charge them, make sure they're taking a charge, if not replace them. Okay, so you got a full fridge, super cool, very unique. It's got a freezer, full freezer. Oh, look at that, one of my favorite drinks. That guy, okay, and then a full fridge too. So, and okay, so another very unique feature for especially a van size to have some of that. We got a full sink back here, brush your teeth or whatever you want to do before bed. Cabinets underneath, and then here's your heater. And this again is one of those things that you may or may not like, and you can change it or just leave this alone and put a different one in, a little portable one if you wanted to. This thing works great. It definitely heats up, especially when you close this back area off. The only issue I'd have with this heater is it's safe. It's got, I don't even ever seen really what these are. It's like a catalytic kind of old school heater. The only thing I would say that would be an issue is if you had kids. I would not want this with my 2-year-old. And we never really used the heater with Tommy, but it would be super easy for him to touch and potentially burn himself. It doesn't ever freak me out with lighting on fire or anything like that, just the way it works. But yeah, if you had a blanket come down, it definitely would cause a little bit of concern if you're running kids. And if it's just you, no big deal. But and if it's, again, if you're depending on what you're doing, you might be able to improvise with a different source of heat. The one time we had a little bit of chilly, I just fired up the front. The heater and the AC blow ice cold. There's a cabinet curtain here that separates out the front so you can get changed and stuff. Super nice. Okay, and let's see. Got tons of cabinets up through here. They did a great job with space, you know, and these have these nice hooks so they don't swing open. Sherlock stuff on them. So most of these stay closed. Never had an issue with those swinging open when you're driving down the road. It's got satellite on it. Again, this thing was made kind of back in, I think, the day, early 2000s. I think the code was like 2003 when they built it. So back then, cable internet and stuff, or not cable internet, satellite TV. That's why the old school VHS is sitting in here. Curtains function good. They're a little dirty. You can see the browning on them just from the kids playing it and stuff. But they function properly. There's a good charger source there, which will charge the phone without being plugged in. It runs off the batteries of the vehicle. This couch here folds out. This is actually where I sleep. Kira put this really nice mattress up here, and I ended up always sleeping just on the couch whenever I'd go out on trails or anything. This was very comfortable. If I was real tired, I just crash as is. There's more than enough room even for my big body to fit on it. Lift it up here, and you can see it opens and closes real easy, just like it should. So that's sweet. And here's the door, which I've done many times, and this will probably eventually need to be reworked a little bit. Let me close show you here. So if you get anything falls in between here and that little guy down there is a little, but you just gotta, so give a little, and then that closes tight. And this is where I screw up. You can kind of see it separating right here. So a little bit of TLC in these kind of areas. This is a full mirror. Check yourself out in the morning. Make sure you look good before you go riding, I guess. So you pull this tight, and again, if you just kind of catch a lip, you can grab this guy and it'll lock in place like that, okay? And then that'll make it so it doesn't swing, and I have forgot that several times, so you'll eventually go around a turn and that will wide open. It rolls nice, so it's just the seaming up here is kind of getting beat up, but I would put another piece of this material on it and just kind of, I mean, you can use it as is. It's just something I wanted to show you, everybody. So this is all to do with this satellite here. And it is mounted on the top, although you'd have to get service on it. I think today, day and age, with Starlink, which we use here in the property, I would just use that. I don't have it in here right now, but there is I'm trying to figure out how it was mounted. I think originally when we got this thing, there was a big piece of wood which was covered in carpet, and it allowed you to create a deck in here. It wasn't really like a sleeping deck. It was just more of like a storage, like you could put it in after your dirt bikes and throw your gear maybe on top of it, but I don't see where it even attaches anymore. Maybe we took that down. I feel like it's in here, I'm just not seeing it, but I'll have to look at that more. But there is a piece that connects the two here and gives you kind of a deck piece. Originally I thought maybe it was for somebody sleeping, but you'd have to support underneath. You could do something like that, but anyway, so that's that. The garage door works good. It does tend to want to, again, just because these pieces of siding here, which are easy to replace as well. This one's fine. This corner here will catch on it, and it's just over the years, you can kind of see up there. So if you pull straight down on this guy, it's going to catch right there. But if you pull it just to an angle, it doesn't catch. See, and then it comes right by it. And this is, give me a second, I'm going to have to do it both. All right, so once you get over that top and it starts coming down, then I can do it back to one hand, and it comes right back down. And then this guy locks up with a key. Everything works here. Another thing that again, for me and having the baby in it, it was just a little bit, I didn't like the fact that you couldn't unlock this from the inside. You can get out from the front, obviously, but for me, I was going to come up with something, and I looked into it. There's some cool box truck things you can get out there where you can actually make this lever two-way, so you can actually fling it open from the inside, which is sweet, especially for my big frame. Getting in and out of the front, crawling over the seats is my favorite thing. Totally doable once in a while, but just if you were camping in and out, I like to open the back and just walk up the ramp. Okay, here's your generator. Yep, own-in generator, 4,000. So you can tell no expense was spared. So those batteries are old. So depending on if somebody at this point, you know, the pricing is where it is. If we go up, you know, as the season comes, we put this up in the winter, so we adjusted it down for that. And there's a little bit of room right now, but not a lot, just because, as you can see, this is a hard unit to find or build. It would be. But if you, you know, if we need to put a set of batteries in it, I'd be willing to work something out, especially for our asking price. Otherwise, you can kind of go through it. There's the carb that you can rejet if you want. This is kind of cool. Your power option here, right? So you want to, if you don't want it pulling, you can collectively use these batteries for front and for interior stuff. But if you don't want them sucking off, if you got a parasitic drain or something going on, don't know what's going on, you can flip the power there and isolate that out. So I showed you that. Here's the water heater. Okay, everything's good there. Fires up. Again, we'll get this all so it's kind of ready for display here when it gets a little warmer out, unless we have somebody that's wanting to take it before then, and that's fine too. Okay, there's the start of your tank. This is a good size black water tank. So you got it goes halfway in here, and then you have a little bit of storage, and then you have propane tank there, and then you have your circuit box through there for your shore power. I don't think I have it hooked up right now to even use shore power, but it's easy to do. It's just a normal fuse box. And then you have your, those airlines don't operate anymore. They were for, see, it has a compressor back there, which you could reinstall. Those actually ran the airbags, so you could just, didn't have to stop and fill them up. But I'm a kind of a manual type of person. I like to run things manually. So here's your tank to drain your tank, your black water, just like a normal RV. Just go into a dump station and away it goes, as it should. And again, I showed you that propane tank. That's a huge tank. I mean, it doesn't look very big, but that tank has lasted me almost 2 years of pretty moderate. I mean, moderate use, you know, here and there, weekends. So gray water drain in the bottom. What else am I missing? Super kind of cool and unique on this thing. I think that's it. Let me show you the cab real quick. And let's see if she's got a battery. Well, she got power. Let's see if she'll start. Maybe. Oh, look at that. That's literally, I bet that's 6 months of sitting without any kind of trickle charger. And I'm not pushing the gas. I'm obviously not sitting in it. I'm standing right next to it. So she runs great. So odometer mileage 261. That's the 1992 chassis that's underneath it. Since then, 2003 is when they did the conversion, and engine, transmission have been replaced since then. We just put the transmission in brand new a year and a half ago. Axles were upgraded when they did the conversion. They put the big beefy axle in it. Just a little cold right now, so it's not smoky. Just the steam coming off there. And dog house, so this pulls out, which is really nice, so you can work on your engine really well, easily. Let's see, heater works great. You can hear that kick on. And let's see what else we got. Pretty simple in here. The headliner's in good shape. Stereo, okay. Let's see if we can get some jams on it.
Push me up against the wall.
So somebody, when they did the conversion, they upgraded the van speakers, so they sound good. And I think it's got, don't know how many speakers they put on it. I mean, you could get kind of crazy with it and put some outside speakers if you wanted on it. Seats are excellent shape. I put this in there for my lumbar sport. There's no tears on them. I mean, the thing is, other than a little dusty, you know, it's excellent shape. The windows work properly, up and down, manual. Like I said, those are nice, and they're nice that they're manual, because some of the old Chevy stuff had. So I'm not going to pull the doghouse because it is kind of a pain to do. I mean, it's not super hard, but you do pull some things here. This comes off. These guys here. I mean, you can do it in 10 minutes, but we can get over that later. But I will pull the hood. Give you a all stock OEM. And I know that battery was brand new. That guy there, this box from this guy, that's for your charger. That charges your back batteries, which is nice. And yeah, a couple extra wires sitting under here. Those were for it had a cruise control module on it, and I think we took that off because it wasn't working right, and it just was somebody had wired in kind of goofy. It mounted right here. I think you asked me about that, and I couldn't remember what we had done with that, but you can put one of those back on. They're just an add-on. They work real easy. They work off vacuum, but do it right. Whoever did it didn't wire it, you know, the way they were supposed to. So, and I'm a perfect person that does not like. I don't want electrical fire. So if I see something I don't like, I'll just disconnect it. So there's your satellite up top, the vent in the rear, the AC. Boy, what else? There's no holes in it. You know, these things can get, this got a couple scratches there. Lights all work on it. I seen this guy's got it's got an awning on it. I've never used that, so I'm sure it works, but there's a little bit of a right there. Nice lighting in the back. You can see it real well. We'll go through all that too and make sure nothing's burnt out, but yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for taking a look, and hopefully this will get us some views on our YouTube channel, because I know people are building vans. We've had a few different ones. We've tried messing with an Astrovan, and that's kind of how it got me into this. Actually, is we had I bought a couple high top Astrovans that I was like real keen on making into like these camper vans. Unfortunately, I'm just a big dude, and they just don't work. This thing is like, I can stand up in this thing, which is incredible. Very few vans can a 6 foot plus guy stand in, and this I could stand straight up in, which is great. And then it's just got room, you know, shower. Try to put a shower or toilet or something in a van, especially a small one, even a Sprinter van. Unless it's like one of those RVs, like actual RVs, there's just not enough room in them. You can throw a couch. I mean, I've seen some pretty neat things with them, and I give them mad props. Especially some of the women built ones I've seen are just amazing. Especially for like a 5'8" a girl, they seem to work really well for that. But if you want a little bit more space, you're traveling with your spouse, you're traveling with gear, snowboarding gear, dirt bikes, ATVs, you know, again, you can pull a trailer. The trailer we pulled behind this guy was this little one back here. It's just a little 16 footer. And it's that guy right there. So a little short guy, but real lightweight. And it pulls nice behind it. The brakes work good on it. So, and you can see it right now. It's been sitting for, like I said, since, I don't know, probably October, maybe before that, maybe August actually. I think we took it down. Yeah, we went. That's right. We went down. We did alpine loop in it down by Telluride and Ouray. My father-in-law came in from California, and we loaded the bikes up in this and took them down and did the big passes down there. And but my point is, it's sitting. We haven't aired it up. I mean, it's sitting how it is. The tires are probably a little bit low just because it's super cold right now. It's like 25 degrees. So, but I appreciate all the time. And if you need any Jeep parts, you know where to look. But if you are looking for a neat van, and yeah, it will pull a Jeep. I've done two ways. I've flat towed a Jeep before behind it, which is just bumper. You know, my Jeep's up here. I can kind of show you what that means if you don't know what a flat tow is. and it is not up here. So yeah, it's just essentially there's a tow bar in the front of it. The weight's on the Jeep itself, and you just kind of tug it along, and it does great that way. Or I put when we went to California, we took this out. We went back out to California with it and put it on that little car hauler and towed out a Wrangler that way too. And that was kind of nice. We didn't put the miles on the Jeep that way, but and it towed, air up the back and go to town. Now, speed-wise, let me tell you, this thing will get up and go. It does kill your mileage by going 75 in it, but this guy will go 75. Not up a pass, but especially just out here when you get down the passes, start going down, you can cruise 75, 80 on this thing on the highway. So fuel or cost of running isn't a huge concern. By all means, go 75. I try to go like 55, 60, 65 sometimes in it just to keep my mileage somewhat reasonable in it. So, and that tank's big enough, you probably could put a little bit longer pickup on it and get the full 50 gallons out of that tank, almost positive. I think it's only drawing like 35 gallons, and that tank looks to be a 50 gallon up under here. So speaking of that, let me just give you a little bit of, show you this briefly. So look at that big guy. That's your fuel tank. That's a Haas, and that's an aftermarket one. Matter of fact, we get Jeep tanks that are built by the same company. I don't know if they're still around or not, but and then you got that gigantic axle in the rear, and then of course your back frame. It's fully framed, so it's a nice stout frame. It's not like some of these new vans what they're built with. So cool. All right, best number to reach me on 970-208-7610. I do have a clean title in hand, and yeah, I'm sure it won't last for maybe, especially this YouTube video goes live. YouTube's been a good source for us over the years, so I appreciate everything. If you need any help transporting it, I do make runs, although I'm usually loaded. This is my my trailer that I would use. It's a nice big deck over it, would handle it, but we'd have to work something out with delivery costs, especially with fuel being where it is. But I have no problem doing that for you and giving you a quote. Otherwise, I could meet you, get it to Denver, so you could fly into Denver International. That's 4.5 hours away. Grand Junction, you can actually fly into here as well. It's a smaller airport. Montrose has flights. Salt Lake City's another 4 hours. So there are definitely some options around us. And I think that's it. So appreciate everything. Thank you.